Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my parents' basement, your parents' basement, our parents' basement, and I'm starting to question my life's choices. Hello everybody, welcome to my parents' basement. I feel very safe and secure, but also very scared because I am sitting in a leaning tower of Pisa made of Blu-Ray movies on the shelves, on the shelf in the movie stand, or the TV stand. They don't look that scary, that intimidating, but I feel like if these fell over, I would get swept away like people in an avalanche, never to be found. And I dared myself to do a Blu-ray collection video. I regretted it as I was taking these movies down, but we're already here. So nonetheless, let's do a Blu-ray collection video. Let me just crack this drink, because I know I'm going to lose my voice during this. First, I should just preface by saying, these are in alphabetical order when they're on the shelf, but I was taking them off at a randomness, I suppose I should say. So there is no method to them being set on the floor. Obviously some will be in alphabetical order still because of the way I took them off, but they're stacked on each other and inversed on each other, so it's not going to make much sense. But I suppose I should give myself some room. Let's start with here. First up, we've got Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. This is an underrated Kevin Costner movie in my opinion. It's got a great cast with Morgan Freeman, Christian Slater, and Alan Rickman. Just a fun period piece about the tale of Robin Hood. Probably easily the best Robin Hood interpretation. And I'm not sure where to put these when I'm done because there's nowhere to throw them. Then we've got Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. This is just a Blu-ray. I think this movie's on 4K. I should probably upgrade it one of these days. But classic 80s movie. Don't ever watch the remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's an abomination. But this original with Patrick Swayze is just a fun time. One of the most just enjoyable, relaxable movies that I own. I just like going back to watch this every now and again. We've got The Prestige, Christopher Nolan, one of his best movies. Well, all his movies are arguably one of his best movies. This one I just don't revisit that much because it kind of takes a lot out of me. But I've always really liked this one, but I really need to rewatch it again. It's been a hot minute. And then we got Braveheart with Mel Gibson. A lot of people love this movie. I respected it. I enjoyed it for the most part. But there's other kind of period epics that I prefer to that. Then we've got the Bourne movies. Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Ultimatum, and Jason Bourne. I don't have Bourne Legacy. Who would want to have that movie? I love all the Bournes. Even Jason Bourne, I saw it in the theater with my dad. I've got a movie teaser poster up on my wall. I like Jason Bourne. I like Matt Damon as the character. Even if he did a new one, I would be the first in line. I love that series. Just really good movies. But I think Identity is my favorite. Then we've got the Predator 4 movie collection on 4K, and followed by Prey on 4K. So glad that Disney released this, which was originally a Hulu movie. So glad they released it. But Predator, again, a movie poster on the wall, probably the best. Easily the best of the series. The Postman Always Rings Twice, really underrated Jack Nicholson movie that I enjoy. And this movie's kind of bittersweet for me because this is just Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange were the original choices to be Jack and Wendy Torrance in The Shining. And Jessica Lange is more book accurate in terms of like appearance than Shelley Duvall, but Shelley's still great. She went through a lot for that part, and she's great in the movie, so just kind of like a little tidbit for me, being a big fan of the book. We got The Poltergeist, really solid horror movie from the 1980s. produced by Steven Spielberg. Bringing Out the Dead. This is the Paramount Presents line on 4K. Martin Scorsese, Nicolas Cage. Super underrated movie. Then we got Point Break. This is another movie I should probably upgrade to 4K one of these days. Patrick Swayze, once more. Keanu Reeves. One of the best heist films of all time. Great. I think is this 80s still? Or is this early 90s? I think it's 90. It's either 90 or 91. I can't remember. But great movie. Love. I've watched this so many times, but it's been a hot minute again. I gotta really get back to this one because the skydiving sequence, just the overall surfing, the whole plot of it's just a vibe in itself. Then we got The Bike Riders on 4K. This is a movie I wanted to like more than I actually did. It's got a lot of Scorsese-isms to it, but I wish it would have went deeper. But Tom Hardy gives one of his best performances in a while in that movie. Sorry for the angle switches and possible quality dips, but my camera batteries keep dying on me. So bear with me. I think we might be in a little bit of a Dutch angle right now. So we've got Contact, a really underrated Robert Zemeckis movie with a great performances by Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. We've got another Matthew McConaughey movie, Reign of Fire, with Christian Bale. This is a Betwixt Now and Sunrise. This is the authentic cut by Francis Ford Coppola. Munich, Fear, Eastern Promises, Pump Up the Volume, Bug, The Last Detail, The Dead Zone, The Holdovers, Talk to Me, The Keep, Red Eye, The Wild Robot, The Terminal. I think this is a really underrated Steven Spielberg movie and a great Tom Hanks performance. Double Jeopardy. We got a couple A24 exclusives. We've got I Saw the TV Glow, really enjoyed that one. After Sun, I thought was a really good movie. Phenomenal Paul Mescal performance. And Frankie Corio is great in this too. His daughter in the film. And then we got The Zone of Interest, a great World War II film there. Then we've got, reaching through these piles, the Harry Potter 8-film collection on 4K. And then we've got, oh gosh, it's like Jenga but reverse. Bad Boys 1 and 2 on 4K, and then Bad Boys for Life, which should have been the name of the fourth one, because it's literally right there in the title, and you dropped the ball. I should have thought this through better. It's really not in my favor how I am. I'm smoking next to I'm smoking at the gas pumps in this situation. Then we've got The Pledge, really underrated Jack Nicholson movie once more. This is a Sean Penn directed it. I think this is getting a 4K release pretty soon. This is a really, really good movie. Then we got a Criterion Collection of The Player. Really enjoyed this one. The Place Beyond the Pines. I've got this cool Omerta edition, The Godfather trilogy. Although I've upgraded these films to 4K, I've still kept this around because it's a limited edition of 4,500 of these in existence. I asked for The Godfather trilogy Christmas for one time, and my dad went out of his way to get this this limited edition set. So really cool though. It looks like a book's. Got like opens up. We got the films and some like quote cards and cool stuff like that. So then we've got Immaculate. Then we got a little batch of Criterion films here, all on 4K. We've got Peeping Tom, really great 60s film. One of like the first serial killer movies from like the perspective of the serial killer. All of Us Strangers, once again, really glad that this one got a physical release. Really good movie. Though, I was crying so hard, I don't think you could watch that one very often. Blue Velvet, probably my favorite David Lynch movie. Mean Streets, classic Scorsese. And then we got Mulholland Drive, another great David Lynch film. I'm going to do this pile now that keeps hitting my leg. We've got Rising Sun, Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. Risky Business, probably should get this 4K Criterion one of these days, but this is probably my favorite like teenage coming of age film, just because I could relate to Tom Cruise. Not the things he does, but the ways he feels. I could relate to his character in this movie more than like any other one. Maybe Ferris Bueller is definitely a close second, but I think Risky Business is the best coming of age movie that can correlate those feelings. Then we got Requiem for a Dream. This another one to watch every 5 years against your will. Reservoir Dogs, classic Tarantino. The Recruit. Real Steel. Raising Cain. The Firm, Tom Cruise. As we go through, we're going to see a lot of like random Harrison Ford movies that no one talks about, that very few people even know exist, but I have them because Harrison Ford is my favorite actor. And so we've got Firewall, which is Harrison Ford and Paul Bettany. It's kind of a generic movie, but he only did this because King of the Crystal Skull got delayed. And I enjoy it for the most part, It's, like I said, it's kind of paint by the numbers, and Harrison Ford kind of plays... he plays like a tech-savvy security guy. I don't even know why I'm wasting this much time talking about that movie. Fight Club, a really nice looking steelbook that I'll keep even when this movie comes to 4K. Ghost Watch. This is a BBC a special that aired that aired on Halloween in 1992, and it was a legitimate War of the Worlds type situation. Where people thought that it was real. It's kind of a pseudo ghost investigation. Really good movie right there. Then we've got Ghost. Get the Gringo. That's a good film that I enjoy. The Gentleman. I really enjoyed this Guy Ritchie film. Okay, I'm holding a stack of Blu-rays, this ever-growing stack, because there's nowhere to displace them when I'm done. Gemini Man. I know what you're thinking, there's no reason I should have this, but I do. It was Black Friday, it was cheap, and I wanted it because I have an addiction. No more needs to be said. Gattaca. Criterion of the Game. David Fincher, really underrated film of his. Gangs of New York. Full Metal Jacket. The Fugitive, one of Harrison Ford's most underrated roles. And Tommy Lee Jones, magnificent, really good movie. From Hell, I know what you're thinking. It grew on me, okay? It grew on me, and I had to have it. It's not that great, but I don't know. I watched it, and I knew it was mediocre, and I didn't really like it, but then I kept thinking about it. The Frighteners, Peter Jackson, Michael J. Fox. Frequency. Don't feel like watching that movie very often. Free Guy. Flight Plan, really underrated thriller. Flight, another Robert Zemeckis movie that I think is really underrated. I really like this movie, especially the first half with the plane crash. Just really intense. Reminded me a little bit of Castaway. Then we got Fletch. I really should get the Kino Lorber releases of the 1 and 2 of this, but here's the first one with Chevy Chase. Then we've got First Blood. Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo, and Rambo Last Blood. I actually like 3 more than 2, and I haven't watched the 2 newest ones yet. For the longest time, I just saw Rambo, and I kind of made an effort late in the year to watch the rest of them. I just haven't gotten around to these last 2. I've heard a lot of great things about Rambo. Obviously, Last Blood, heard not so many great things about, but we'll see for ourselves. Then we got 4K The Departed, one of Scorsese's best works. Just an all-star, Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon. Epic right there. The Deer Hunter. Days of Thunder. The Day After Tomorrow. Dark Blue. The Goonies. Good Will Hunting. Good Time. Really one of the movies that proved Robert Pattinson was more than just the Twilight guy. The Good Son. I was obsessed with this movie when I was a little kid. Just seeing Macaulay Culkin as this evil, maniacal, like trash bag just makes me feel things. Really good horror movie. Goodfellas, obviously, a classic of film. Gone in 60 Seconds. Gone Girl, another great David Fincher movie, probably my top 3. Gone Baby Gone, Ben Affleck's first film, and The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. It's so cold out that I don't need to refrigerate my beverages. They're already cold just existing. And that's why I'm wearing the sweatshirt. But it's getting so hot. Stuff's behind these films. I might have to take it off. Unknown. This is an underrated Liam Neeson film. Obviously we all know Liam Neeson's career trajectory. He kind of started doing action thrillers, even though he was a really serious dramatic actor in the early 90s with Schindler's List and what have you. But this was one of the ones that I actually enjoy quite a bit. Unhinged with Russell Crowe. Judge me, I don't care. Sixth Sense on 4K didn't give me the slipcover, so that's why it's still in the plastic. I was so depressed that I pre-ordered this and still didn't get a slipcover, that it's still in the plastic. Sin City, really great comic book adaptation. The Simpsons movie, I love The Simpsons, one of my favorite shows of all time. And so, have to have the movie. This is my comfort food. This show and this film just make me feel like everything's gonna be okay. So, let me just, yeah. Signs, again, same thing as Sixth Sense. Pre-ordered it, didn't get a slipcover, was depressed, so kept it in plastic. Then we've got Sicario, which I really, really, really liked. I should probably upgrade this to 4K. And Sicario de Soldado. Still haven't even watched this movie because I don't know, I just can't really get into the idea of it. Mostly because no one really ever talks about it in any way, so one day I should force myself just to sit down and watch it. It's not as bad as I'm now watching it makes it out to be. Then we got the Men in Black trilogy. Love the first Men in Black, one of the best buddy cop sci-fi movies, however you want to categorize it, one of the best. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith are fantastic together. Can't stand Men in Black 2. I enjoyed Men in Black 3. I remember seeing it in the theaters. Enjoyed that movie for the most part. Then we got Miami Vice. Let's hold it out of the light. Miami Vice. Really like Miami Vice. I know a lot of people don't like it. I got an awesome poster of it on the wall. I'm a big Michael Mann fan. And while I probably would have preferred something that felt more like a movie version of the TV show, or like a modern day, I don't know, because like what they try to go for, I understand. Like they did try to represent Miami Vice, but in a modern day aspect. But it just felt so like divergent from like things that happen on the show. Granted, I've only seen one season of the show because then Peacock took it off of their streaming service. But I don't know. I feel like there could have been more from this, but I still overall like it. It's got beautiful cinematography, and like I said, I enjoy it still for the most part. Then we got Midnight Run. Another film I need to upgrade to 4K. Just a great action comedy by Martin Brest, who did Beverly Hills Cop. And John Ashton's in the movie, rest in peace. Same with, I can't remember his name. Charles Grodin. Then we got Minority Report, one of the most underrated Spielberg movies. I feel like a lot of people forget that this was him. It's one of his best works from the early 2000s. And a Tom Cruise collaboration. Speaking of Tom Cruise, we've got Mission Impossible, the 6-movie collection. And then we've got Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, at the time, Part 1. Obviously, we know how that's changed, but I love those films. Great, epic action spy films that really can't be topped by anything. Then we've got the James Bond collection. This is everything, I think, up to... Well, it says 24 of them. I think it's everything up to Spectre. So, all the classic Bond films. Then we've got Casino Royale in 4K. Quantum of Solace. I actually like... I like this one a lot more than most people. This is probably my third favorite of the Daniel Craig ones. I really like Quantum of Solace. Then we got Skyfall. Then we've got Spectre. And then we've got No Time to Die. This is one of my favorite Bond films. I think Casino Royale is the best Bond film, and then obviously also the best Daniel Craig Bond. But in terms of Daniel Craig, No Time to Die is actually my second favorite. I think this is a really good movie that a lot of people kind of hated on for no good reason, in my opinion. I thought it was fantastic, and great action sequences. And this one felt like the most classic James Bond. I feel like he had a lot of his character traits that we usually associate with Bond. I feel like a lot of them were present in this movie. A lot of quippy one-liners, and the humor was more on par, I think, with the other ones. Not to say that these ones are bad because they don't do that, but this one gave me a lot of classic James Bond vibes. And I know people are upset about the ending, but like Daniel Craig's Bond is his own Bond. He's not the other Bond. He's not. It's not a prequel to the other Bonds. Like, he is his own Bond, and so you have his beginning and you have his end, and it's perfect because that's the way it was. And so some people didn't like that, were upset by it. I had no issue with it. I thought it was a good choice to do. Then we've got Never Say Never Again. This is a Sean Connery. This is a foreign copy. I forget which country released it. But this is the Bond film that it's based off of Thunderball, but Ian Fleming got the idea from Thunderball from somebody else. Basically, I have a review of this on my YouTube channel where I talk about the reason of how this was made, but this is not a sanctioned James Bond film. It's not by MGM or if you buy a complete collection of James Bond, this film will not be in there because it's not a part of the actual Eon Films stuff. So that's why this is a foreign Blu-ray, because this came out on Blu-ray once in America, very limited release though. I actually really like this movie. I prefer it to Thunderball. I think it's a lot better. This is Sean Connery's last take as Bond, though, like I said, it's not an official one. Then we've got J. Edgar. This is a Clint Eastwood movie with Leo DiCaprio. Jerry Maguire, really underrated, rom-com, I suppose you could say, with Tom Cruise. And, I can't remember her name. Of course, it doesn't say it on the cover. I'm not going to spend too much time for this. Renee Zellweger, okay, who cares? Jaws on 4K with a lenticular slip case, whatever you want to call it. What's to say about Jaws that hasn't already been said? This is the definite movie of the summer. The first blockbuster. We have a lot to thank to Steven Spielberg and Jaws. Then we got Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. I'm a completionist. I wanted to have them all on 4K because it made me feel better about myself. So I have them all on 4K. We got The Fifth Element Steelbook. This is just the Blu-ray though. Ferris Bueller. Then we've got Ferrari on 4K. This is a UK release, so I could get the 4K. Michael Mann, Adam Driver. What more to say? I'm not proud of this. The Fast and the Furious. Oh, there's a plastic part on the bottom I just roughed. Fast and the Furious 8 film collection, and then I've got Hobbs and Shaw. I've tried a couple times. I've watched the first Fast and Furious and I liked it. I just can't seem to sit down and watch the rest of them. One day I will. I'll buy the ones I'm missing to complete the set, but it's a daunting task to sit through those. Then we've got Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. I didn't know how I didn't really expect to like these, but I really did. This movie is a really solid sci-fi adventure movie, action adventure movie. That is really enjoyable. I want to watch the rest of the originals. I've seen the first 3 original Star Trek movies. I want to watch the rest of the originals and then the Next Generation films. Then we got Starship Troopers, a really great satire film that I don't think a lot of people realize is a satire film. Stand By Me, one of the classic coming-of-age movies of all time. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, again with with the Simpsons movie. I grew up watching, loving SpongeBob. This one's on 4K. Probably should pick it up one of these days. But I love the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. So many gags, so many jokes. Just an all-time great animated film. Then we got Speed, 4K Steelbook. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is a digibook. Again, probably should get the 4K one of these days, but I'm in no rush. Then we got Waterworld on 4K. I'm a Kevin Costner guy. We'll see more of this going through, but this is a big bombastic, stupid movie that you can eat pizza to and have a good time. Oh, but one thing that does bother me is Dennis Hopper's eye patch on the cover is flipped. In the movie, he's got it on the other eye, but I think they inversed the picture for the cover. Watchmen on 4K, the ultimate cut. Warrior on 4K, beautiful steelbook, great film with Tom Hardy. War of the Worlds, another Spielberg Tom Cruise collaboration, and a really I a lot of people don't like it more when it's just Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning. I actually prefer it when it's the full family, and I feel like there was a clear arc that they were going for that they kind of abandoned, and the whole scene with Tim Robbins feels like a reshoot. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but something's amiss with that movie. Then we got Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were Rabbit. I grew up with this movie. I love this movie. A Walk Among the Tombstones, another really underrated Liam Neeson thriller. Then we've got Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. I like this movie a lot. It's not like your traditional werewolf movie, but I say that with like the most love and respect. James Spader is fantastic in this movie. It's kind of a comedy at times, but I really enjoy Wolf. I go back and watch it like once a year. We got The Wrestler. I remember when this was coming out and like Mickey Rourke was like showing up to WWE and he like punched Chris Jericho in the face. Whiplash, a great intense like who would have thought jazz would be so suspenseful? But then was thinking about it, like, yeah. White Man Can't Jump, a great basketball comedy, probably one of the best sports movies of all time. What Lies Beneath, man, you can't really see that because of the blue. What Lies Beneath, a really underrated Robert Zemeckis film with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, are great. I know a lot of people kind of say this is like derivative of Alfred Hitchcock movies, but like that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be kind of like Robert Zemeckis' homage to that type of like forgotten thriller, and he wanted to make a movie that Alfred Hitchcock would have made if he would have had today's technology. This has some great sequences, some great shots, and I think it's one of Harrison Ford's best performances because he's playing so against what he normally plays, and I think that just makes for a great movie. And speaking of Harrison Ford's great performances, his Academy Award nomination, the only one he has to date, Witness. This is an epic box set from Arrow with this great reversible case. Just a really great movie. If you've never seen this, definitely check it out. It's Peter Weir. Just one of Harrison Ford's best movies that not enough people talk about. Then we got The Witch, Robert Eggers' first film. I really enjoyed this movie. Great horror film. Then we got Wind River. I know this has a 4K steelbook coming or out, but I don't know how much I need Wind River on 4K or 4K steelbook. But this is a really great like crime thriller. Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap. I didn't think I was gonna like Zombieland as much as I ended up liking it. I kind of would have preferred it to just be a movie where two guys walk around this apocalyptic wasteland looking for Twinkies and everything. But what it became, I didn't have any problem with. And Double Tap, I wish it wasn't so much of a retrend as the first one, but I still enjoyed it for the most part. I didn't hate watching it. Then we got Zodiac on Blu-ray. The 4K we will stumble across, but I don't think I'm going to get rid of this one just because I love the cover so much. So we'll see that film again. Then we got the Young Sherlock Holmes. Young Sherlock Holmes Steelbook Blu-ray. I really like this movie. For the longest time, I always saw like pictures of it. I saw it at my local library, and I thought, nah. And then one day I sat down and watched it. I was like, oh wow, that's actually like a really good movie. This is like one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes adaptations. And the thing that bothers me the most is that the people that made the movie, you can tell, were kind of intimidated because there's like a beginning message and a like end of the movie message that says how they're trying to pay respect to Sherlock Holmes. And I'm like, why are you putting that in there? That's very obvious from the film that you're trying to pay respect. But Steven Spielberg, I think, produced this movie. I forget if this is a Chris Columbus write or direct or both, but it's got it reminds me a lot of like the first Harry Potter movies, and I think that's why I think it might be Chris Columbus that directed that movie. I can't remember for sure though, but I really like that movie. Then we got Young Frankenstein, one of Mel Brooks' best works, probably my favorite film of his. Then we got Wyatt Earp. Lawrence Kasdan directed that. Wolf of Wall Street, easily top 3 Scorsese films. It'd be 2 or 1 for me. I'm not sure where, but one of probably DiCaprio's best performance. Then we've got this Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost trilogy of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, excuse me. Really like Shaun of the Dead. That was just a fun movie to watch. Then we got Seven on Blu-ray with this like cheap slipcover. That doesn't mean anything, but I thought it was cool. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Really liked this movie when I saw it. Haven't watched it in a minute, but Secret Window. The Secret to My Success, underrated Michael J. Fox movie. Sea of Love, underrated Al Pacino movie that I really enjoy. Probably one of my most rewatched Al Pacino movies, which would probably be weird for some people, but I just like that one a lot. Schindler's List, classic, of course, and Scent of a Woman. Al Pacino finally gets his Best Actor Oscar. Continuing along, we've got Body of Lies by Ridley Scott with DiCaprio and Crowe. It's kind of like a generic spy movie, but like DiCaprio, Crowe, and Scott all kind of like raise it up to a little bit higher of a level. Bodies. This is the A24 Best Buy exclusive 4K. I enjoy this movie for the most part. There's some aspects about it that I thought could have been done better, but I thought it was fair for what it was. 12 Monkeys, great Bruce Willis movie. 10 Things I Hate About You, really underrated film there. 8mm, one of my favorite Nick Cage movies. 310 to Yuma, James Mangold, Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, great Western remake. Logan, another James Mangold, probably the best movie of the Fox era, and probably Hugh Jackman's best. I could have seen him winning Best Actor for this. I could have seen, like, this movie was like Oscar worthy in my opinion. One of the top 4. This would be on my Mount Rushmore of superhero movies. Then we've got Deadpool 1 and 2. I don't know why people think like this is a close battle. To me, Deadpool 2 is far superior. Then we've got Serpico, Kino Lorber 4K with Al Pacino. Late Night with the Devil. Really like this concept. This is a Blu-ray Steelbook, but I really like the idea for this movie. And I really like everything up to like the last like 20 minutes. I don't know, like when the whole show starts to fall apart, I feel like that broke the fourth wall, and I didn't really like that. Horizon, this is a great Steelbook 4K with, I hope Kevin Costner gets to make the rest of these movies, because although I would probably say it's kind of a misfire just slightly, I want to see the rest of the films. I want people to be able to take chances, even if they don't completely hit the bullseye. 12 Angry Men, one of the best movies of all time. House of Gucci. I enjoyed it. I just wish it would have picked a tone, because it feels like at times it's trying to be like a serious gangster movie, and then it feels like other times it's trying to be Wolf of Wall Street. I wish it would have picked a lane and stayed in it. Black Hat. A lot of people trash on this movie. It lost a lot of money, but I enjoy it. Fall Guy. This is a good movie that I enjoyed. The Batman. Robert Pattinson's fantastic as Bruce Wayne in Batman. The Flash, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Same thing goes for this one. Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. I actually like this movie a lot. I thought I liked this maybe more than the first one. I just felt like it was a nice, easy, breezy movie that I could go back and watch. Wonder Woman 1984, I have yet to watch this movie. Morbius with a lenticular slipcover. It's trash, but it's the best way I can describe the Sony Marvel movies is that they're crappy and stupid, but you can handle them. I haven't seen Madam Web yet, and I think that will be the exception to the rule. But for the most part, they're dumb, and they're stupid, and they suck. But they're easy to watch, and that's why I think well, they don't make money, so I don't know what to think. If I wanted to like this movie more than I did. Then I've got Blade and the rest of the trilogy, essentially. I don't know why it's so hard for the MCU to make Blade. Just, he's a vampire hunter. It doesn't have to get more complicated than that. Gotta make sure we don't lose the voice here. And then we have a Fall, Criterion, a really great movie there. Then we got Drive on 4K with a really cool Steelbook. The only thing I didn't like is that I feel like it doesn't really reflect the tone of the movie that well. Then we got Into the Spider-Verse. I want to upgrade this to 4K. Then we've got X-Men, the first 3. X-Men X2, and then X-Men The Last Stand. Then we got a Blu-ray Mask of the Phantasm. This is probably one of the best. I want to say this is the best Batman movie, but it's hard because it's only 70 minutes or so. but this is a great movie. Kevin Conroy, obviously, easily the best Batman. And then we've got Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, which is like the third movie in their little series of Batman animated series movies. Then we got The Ninth Gate. I actually like this movie, although it's stupid because Johnny Depp is supposed to be like a book preservationist historian, but he's smoking and drinking and slamming other books on this ancient old, centuries old book, and it makes no sense. And at times it's trying to be a horror, and at times it's trying to be a comedy, and it's kind of all over the place. But I liked the movie still. All Good Things, a really underrated thriller with Ryan Gosling and Kirsten Dunst. Then we got Copycat. I really like this serial killer 90s thriller. Wonderland, a great Val Kilmer movie based on a true story. The New Daughter. Remember what I said earlier about Kevin Costner movies? I got a soft spot for Kevin Costner, even if they're trash. I just like seeing him do his thing, and so I enjoy The New Daughter. Here it is, Zodiac on 4K. Alexander, Oliver Stone doing his biopic of Alexander the Great with Colin Farrell. I liked it. You know, it was what it was. I liked it. We Were Soldiers. Sleepy Hollow, really underrated Johnny Depp and Tim Burton movie. Twisters, I wanted more from it. I thought I could have went deeper than just being like a safe remake, soft remake. Then we got Thanksgiving, an awesome 4K steelbook. I like this movie because it was like a parody of like the horror movies. Well, to me, like this is what Scream kind of is. But this is a hot take. I think Thanksgiving does it better than Scream. I know what you're gonna say. That's a bold statement, but I'm gonna stand by it. Then we've got Waiting. I think this is a really good comedy with Ryan Reynolds. V for Vendetta, another great comic book adaptation. Van Helsing, see what you will. Christmas Vacation, two great comedies there. Unforgiven, one of my favorite westerns. The Untouchables, a classic crime film. Source Code. We got a Criterion 4K Sound of Metal. It's a great drama. I remember this era of like filming, people were getting all upset because all like depressing movies were up for like Oscars, and like Avengers Endgame wasn't. It's like, get over it, okay? Gosh. Sonic the Hedgehog Steelbook 4K. Snowpiercer. Snatch. This is probably one of my favorite Guy Ritchie movies. Space Jam, classic 90s. The Wolverine. Man of Steel. This might be another hot take too. I think this is the best Superman movie. I just can't get into the Richard Donner original. And this one has plenty of faults. Amy Adams probably shouldn't be in the movie. I don't think... I think it's fair to say that Lois Lane is written terribly. But I still enjoy it. There's still, I think, a lot to enjoy in that movie. X-Men Origins Wolverine, this is an abomination, we all know. X-Men Dark Phoenix, this is an abomination, we all know. New Mutants, I haven't watched this movie, but I've owned it for like 4 years. Daredevil. I started this movie, I didn't finish it. I want to get through the rest of it because I have this compulsion to own all superhero movies. I know what you're thinking, that's ridiculous. Just want to do some TV shows. I got Columbo, this is the 70s set. Got Columbo, this is the 80s to 2000s return. And then I've got Sopranos, the complete series. Some more shows. I've got Daredevil Season 1 and 2. I don't think they released 3 on Blu-ray. True Detective Season 1, the only one worth owning. Then I've got Better Call Saul Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4. Still got to get the last 2 seasons, but I bought these when the Season 4 was coming out, and I just never got around to buying the rest of the show. Batman Beyond, the complete series. Batman, the 1966 complete series. And then my favorite TV show of all time, the best animated series of all time, the best interpretation of Batman of all time, Batman the Animated Series. And those are the shows that I own, except for like the MCU. Then we got the X-Men 3-film collection of First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. I think these are two of the best superhero movies, easily two of the best of the Fox era. Then we got 4K Mask of the Phantasm finally put to its theatrical uh, aspect ratio. Then we've got Joker, and then we've got Joker 2. Don't judge me. Then we've got Batman Begins, which I think is actually the best of the trilogy. The Dark Knight with a great Heath Ledger performance, and The Dark Knight Rises, which is my least favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Then we got Batman The Long Halloween Part 1, Batman The Long Halloween Part 2. These are two great animated movies, but I really prefer Part 1 over Part 2. And then we've got Batman Returns, which is actually my least favorite Batman live action movie. And I know that's saying a lot because Batman and Robin exists, but I don't have, like, to me, there's nothing of value really in this movie. I don't like the over-the-topness. I don't like the portrayal of Batman. Michael Keaton's great, but like the way he's written in the movie, I don't like. Batman Forever, I think Val Kilmer is really underrated as Batman, and I think there's a better cut of that movie somewhere out there. And Batman and Robin. Now, the reason why I think this is better than Batman Returns is because this movie's stupid and fun, and I love watching it because it's stupid and fun. And it's ridiculous, and I hate it, but I love it at the same time. For me, Batman Returns, there's nothing really in there that I like. I don't know, it's too Tim Burton-y for me, but that's just my opinion. Maybe if I rewatched it, it's been a minute, maybe if I rewatched it, I'd feel differently, but that's kind of how I've always felt. Then we've got Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law as Holmes and Watson. We got Ritchie film, and then we've got its sequel. Just make a third one already, you know? I don't think those are the perfect adaptations of Sherlock Holmes, but I think they're fun and interesting for modern day. Shawshank Redemption, one of the best Stephen King adaptations. We've got I should do this in order. Criterion Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Kino Lorber 4K, and Red Dragon on Blu-ray. I think this got a Kino Lorber 4K that I should probably get. Snake Eyes, a really underrated Brian De Palma movie that I enjoy very much, that I also need to get on 4K. Smokey and the Bandit, this is a movie that I was obsessed with as a kid. Shutter Island, really underrated Scorsese. Shrek, another movie I need to get on 4K. We've got The Shining and Doctor Sleep. This is one of the best sequels, I think, for like a, what's the term that people use? I forget. Legacy sequel? RoboCop. The Rock, one of Michael Bay's best. The Rocky Heavyweight Collection. Again, need to upgrade that to 4K. Then we've got Creed, Creed 2, and Creed 3. Then we've got Ronin, really underrated action film. Rumble in the Bronx, great Jackie Chan. I say great loosely. Rundown, Running Man, Running Time, Bruce Campbell. This is a real-time film. Takes place over the course of 70 minutes, and it mimics one cut, one shot. Really good movie. Rush Hour, 1, 2, and 3. Great action comedies. Safe House. The Saint, really a good 90s action movie. Saving Private Ryan. And then we've got Scarface, a Blu-ray steelbook that I really love the look of, and then the 4K that came out. And I just elbowed that. I can feel my back starting to give out, and we still have a long way to go. We've got The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Unbreakable, probably my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. Split. Glass, what a disappointment that was. Uncharted, I know what you're thinking. I love the Uncharted game series. It's probably my favorite game series of all time. It's really what got me into gaming in the first place. I adore those games more than anything. I've played those games more than anything. This movie is abomination. It's a curse against my life. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But that being said, I love Uncharted enough to see the few bright spots that this movie has. But this is complete dog water. It's the most miscast film of all time. I think the only person they got right was Chloe. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that it's actually getting a sequel, but I'm on the boat and I fell off the boat rather, and I'm drowning. I can either get pulled back onto the boat or die. I'm gonna get pulled back onto the boat. Then we got Monkey Man. I wanted to like this movie more than I did, but that being said, I still didn't hate it, but it was just kind of mediocre for me. Monsters vs. Aliens. Grew up watching this movie. Monuments Men. Mortal Kombat. The Mothman Prophecies. I think this is a really underrated like horror thriller with Richard Gere. Mud, Matthew McConaughey's best movie in my opinion. Then we've got The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, and The Scorpion King. I hate The Scorpion King. I hate Mummy 3 even more. I don't know why I have The Scorpion King. To me, it felt like a must-have, and so I have it. Mystic River, great Clint Eastwood film. The Abyss, one of James Cameron's best work. All of his works, one of his best works. 1917. I feel like this movie kind of dropped off a lot. 1408, another Stephen King adaptation. 300. 65. Say what you will about it. I enjoyed it. 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street's far better, but I enjoyed them both, which I didn't expect to do in the first place. 16 Blocks, I think that's an underrated Bruce Willis film. Boogie Nights, classic Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Blowout on Criterion. Blow. This is another Scorsese type movie. Bloodfather. Blood Diamond, underrated DiCaprio. I think this is Edward Zurich, right? Yeah. Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. Two great sci-fi neo-noir movies. We're not out of space to throw these. Black Rain, I think this is a really underrated Ridley Scott movie with Michael Douglas. Great kind of police crime thriller. Black Klansman, Spike Lee. Birdman, that was a good movie. Big Trouble in Little China. Big Lebowski, great classic comedy. Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop 2. Beverly Hills Cop 3. I was obsessed with these movies. I still am. I hope somehow Beverly Hills Cop 4 gets released physically. Beirut, really like this movie with John Hamm. I'm a big John Hamm guy, so As Good as It Gets. Underrated Jack Nicholson film. Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. Some of the best like horror movies we've gotten. Scorsese. Krasinski really, I think, showed a lot of people up with that one. Apocalypto, that's a good Mel Gibson film, and we got Apocalypse Now, a classic Francis Ford Coppola with Marlon Brando playing just a whack job. Uncut Gems, talk about a suspenseful film that otherwise probably shouldn't have been. Tropic Thunder. Troy, a great Swords and Sandals epic. Training Day, one of Denzel's best, well, probably his best performance actually. Train Spotting. Tremors, great 90s. True Lies, another great 90s film by James Cameron. I liked it. I don't know, I like this movie a lot, and then I kind of rewatched it, and I still liked it, but not as much. True Romance. This is a Tony Scott film by Tarantino. Really great Christian Slater film. Then we got Twilight, not the one you think. This is with Paul Newman, Susan Sarandon, and Gene Hackman. This is a really great neo-noir film. Twins. Twister. Two for the Money. Total Recall. Screw You! Toy Story. Toy Story 2. Toy Story 3. Toy Story 4. We got The Town, 4K Steelbook, great Ben Affleck movie. Trading Places. Traffic. Top Gun, which seems more like a music video. It's hard to call this a movie. It feels more like a music video. And Top Gun Maverick, which is one of the great, like this movie blows the original out of the water. It's not even close. Titanic. John Carpenter's The Thing, Michael Mann, Thief, They Live, probably one of my favorite John Carpenter, if not my favorite. There Will Be Blood. Then we got Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Say what you will, I love The Phantom Menace. Grew up with this movie. It will always have a special place in my heart. It's not as bad as you say. Attack of the Clones. Again, not as bad as you say, but still pretty bad. Revenge of the Sith, I think arguably the best Star Wars movie. A New Hope, classic. Empire Strikes Back, all-time great movie. Return of the Jedi, it has more faults than you'd like to admit, be honest. Force Awakens, I'd rather not watch that movie. Last Jedi, I'd rather not watch that movie. Rise of Skywalker, I'll probably never watch this movie again. Solo, I think this is the best Disney Star Wars movie. And Rogue One. Then we got Swordfish. I enjoy this film, this like tech-savvy heist movie with John Travolta being over the top and Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry. Supernova. Super bad, great coming-of-age movie. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Dead Man's Chest. At World's End. On Stranger Tides. And Dead Men Tell No Tales. I think this is the best Pirates sequel, Dead Men Tell No Tales. But honestly, the Curse of the Black Pearl is the best of the bunch. Pig, Phantom Thread, this is probably one of my favorite, this might be actually my favorite, no, this is my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Paycheck, The Patriot, Parasite, Over the Top, classic film. What more can you say about Over the Top? Arm wrestling for custody of your son. There's nothing more heroic than that. Out of the Furnace, The Others, Christopher Nolan's magnum opus, Oppenheimer, great film. Disturbia. All these piles are caving in on me. District 9. We got Die Hard on 4K and then the rest of the Die Hard collection, Steelbook. The Devil's Own with Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. Devil's Advocate. Detective Pikachu, which I really, really liked when I first saw it, but I haven't really had the urge to go back and watch it. Dante's Peak, good 90s thriller with Pierce Brosnan. Collateral, great Michael Mann movie. Tom Cruise's best performance. The Conversation. Constantine. Conspiracy Theory. Con Air, great movie. Commando. Coming to America. Frailty, really solid film there. For Love of the Game, this is Sam Raimi, one of my favorite Kevin Costner movies, my favorite of his unofficial baseball trilogy. Forrest Gump, classic film. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I think this is a really underrated movie. Ford v Ferrari, one of James Mangold's best. A great pairing of Matt Damon and Christian Bale, they're fantastic together. Focus, not sure why I have that movie, but I do. Flushed Away, another movie that I grew up with that I really love. I just wish that it was actually clay motion instead of this fabricated, computer-generated clay motion. But that being said, I still enjoy it for the most part. We got Rayman, Ransom, Random Hearts. I know. Raging Bull. Pulp Fiction on a Blu-ray Steelbook. Punch, Drunk Love, a great film there from the Criterion Collection. We've got Dread, a great movie that should probably get a sequel but never will. We've got Drive, Blu-ray Steelbook. Really like this cover. I think that's more encapsulates the tone of the film. Then we've got Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. Two great modern sci-fi epics. Then we got Dungeons and Dragons. I really like that movie. I thought that was a fantastic film. I hope it gets a sequel. Then we got Duel, Spielberg's first film. We got Dunkirk and The Edge. I love The Edge. A movie that I grew up watching and that I still love to this day. Then we've got Edge of Darkness, Edge of Tomorrow, really great sci-fi film with Tom Cruise. Election, Criterion, really great satire. Then we've got Enemy of the State. I enjoy that movie quite a bit. We've got Entrapment, another movie that I like. Equilibrium. It's a cheesy Matrix ripoff with Christian Bale, but he really carries it to be actually a good movie. Escape from New York, Everything Everywhere All at Once, really great film. Here's another one you're gonna question why I have. Extraordinary Measures with Harrison Ford. I See You, a generic 90s thriller with Sylvester Stallone. The Fabelmans, one of Spielberg's best movies recently. Gotta take a drink. I think this is a really fantastic movie that I think is worth mentioning in comparison with some of his best work. Face Off, classic 90s film. Faculty, Falling Down, really great social commentary. I have The Contractor and The Fan, like combo set. I own this for The Fan, which is a Tony Scott movie with Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes about baseball and a crazy fan that stalks and kills and does crazy crap like that. Really like The Fan. I've never seen The Contractor. I probably never will watch it, but I like The Fan a lot. And then we've got a great Fargo slipcover, god dang it, Steelbook. My brain is melting and my voice is being lost. I'm breaking my back over this. Blu-rays are thrown astray. I'm throwing them in every open spot, and we still got so many to go. Oh gosh. Oh, my back. All right. We got the Lethal Weapon collection. The Lighthouse, another Robert Eggers, great like psychological horror there. Lisa Frankenstein, a movie that I actually liked a lot more than I expected to. We got Live by Night. I think that's Ben Affleck's. No. Probably Ben Affleck's worst movie though. I thought it was his last movie, but he did that Air Jordan one, Air I think it was called. Lock Up with Stallone. Logan Lucky is a really good movie. It's a little bit too derivative of the Ocean movies. It's by the same director. Can't remember his name right now. Steven Soderbergh. So I guess it gets a pass because it's the same guy, but I still like aspects of it a lot. Long Kiss Goodnight. Looper, one of Rian Johnson's best. And Bruce Willis is one of his best, like, more recent roles. I'm gonna miss Bruce Willis. I already do. Then we got the Lord of the Rings trilogy on 4K, and then the Hobbit trilogy on 4K. Then we got The Lost Boys. The Machinist, really underrated Christian Bale movie. Then we've got Magnolia, one of Tom Cruise's best performances. The Maltese Falcon. The Man with No Name trilogy. Marathon Man, really underrated thriller there from I think like the 70s with Dustin Hoffman. Master and Commander, really underrated movie that should have got sequels but didn't. We've got Matchstick Men, another Ridley Scott classic. Man of Fire, I think this is Tony Scott. Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, Matrix Resurrections. They do well about the Matrix films, but I have to have them all. Then we got The Meg 2, Memento, really great Nolan. Memories of Murder, this is one of my favorite police procedural catch the killer type movies by Bong Joon-ho, probably my favorite movie of his. And then we got Mercury Rising. It's fun to see all the different movies that I have to kind of go down memory lane with all these, but this is a lot more daunting than I expected it to be. And I've tried to record a Blu-ray collection video multiple times over, and it always falls apart at some point. Oh man, this is devastating. I like taking them down to see the mass of them, but I only half regret that. Let's carry on. We got Super 8, Stir of Echoes. This is a David Koepp movie who wrote Spider-Man, and Jurassic Park, Carlito's Way, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This is a really solid film with Kevin Bacon that I enjoy, and it's got a really cool 4K steelbook that came out. Speaking of 4K steelbooks, we got The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2, and The Godfather Coda: The Death of Michael Corleone, which I have yet to watch that alternate cut. I don't hate Godfather 3 though, the way it was originally done. Glengarry Glen Ross, a really great play adaptation by David Mamet, who wrote the play and the movie, and they specifically wrote Alec Baldwin as that character. Really solid film, great script. Then we got Gladiator, one of the best period movies of all time. My favorite David Fincher movie, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Come and Find Me, Cobra, or what I like to call What Would Have Been Beverly Hills Cop if Stallone stayed on it. Clue the movie, great parody of the Whodunit. Cloverfield, really enjoyed this Matt Reeves movie. Clockwork Orange, classic Kubrick. Cliffhanger with Stallone. Civil War. Then we've got Chinatown with the Paramount Presents 4K and the Two Jakes, its sequel, directed by Jack Nicholson, that I respect for the most part. It's got a 4K coming out this year by Keanu Arbor, I believe. I'll be picking that up. Children of Men, Chasing Amy. This is probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie. Chain Reaction. This was made by the same guy that did The Fugitive. It's basically The Fugitive, but way worse with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. But it's a hard one to get through. Catch Me If You Can, one of Spielberg's most underrated movies, and a great DiCaprio performance. Castaway, probably my favorite Robert Zemeckis movie, which is saying a lot because they did Forrest Gump and everything, but I prefer Castaway. Casino, I prefer this to Goodfellas. I really like Casino. Casablanca, I'm not just trying to blow smoke. This is legitimately one of the best movies that was ever made. And Humphrey Bogart's one of my favorite actors, and this movie's phenomenal. I think I didn't. No, I did do that one. I'm sorry, there's stacks here that I'm not sure if I did or not. Cape Fear, Carlito's Way. There's some days that I prefer this to Scarface, and there's some days where I prefer Scarface, but either way, this is a great movie. Career Opportunities. I think this movie should have been a lot better than it actually ended up being. Bullet Train, Bull Durham, great movie. Bubba Hotep, I'm a big Bruce Campbell guy. Broken Arrow, this is a John Woo movie. This is 90s action cheese to the highest levels. I love Broken Arrow. And I don't want to spoil anything, but John Travolta has a body double that's a dummy that takes a great missile to the chest. Bridge of Spies. I mean, whatever. Brick, one of Rian Johnson's best. And then Breathless with Richard Gere, the remake of the French classic. Let's do these, but let me do them in order. The Terminator 2 Judgment Day with a really awesome slipcover, or steelbook. Terminator 3, don't start with me. And Terminator Salvation, again, don't start with me. I don't want to hear it. Not at this time, no. Tenet, I like this movie. I know some people don't. I like it. Taxi Driver, Tango and Cash, Taken, Public Enemies, another Michael Mann movie that I enjoy. Prisoners, probably my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie. Priscilla, really great Sofia Coppola film. Presumed Innocent and Frantic, two of Harrison Ford's most underrated films and two of his best performances, especially Presumed Innocent. I know a lot of people were saying how Jake Gyllenhaal did really good for the Apple TV adaptation, but really go see Harrison Ford's. Dream Scenario, Don't Tell a Soul, Donnie Brasco, Don John, Dog Day Afternoon, great Al Pacino movie. Django Unchained, probably my favorite Tarantino. Hard Rain, another underrated 90s action movie. The Happening. The Happening is so stupid that I love it. And I like watching it behind the scenes because even Mark Wahlberg is kind of questioning some of M. Night Shyamalan's decisions. Then I've got the original Halloween and the 2018 Halloween. I want to get the rest of them. They're kind of hard to come by, and I want them with slipcovers. The Gray, another Liam Neeson film that I really enjoy. Gremlins, holiday classic. The Green Zone. The Green Mile, another great Stephen King adaptation. The Green Knight. Gran Torino. And then I've got the Evil Dead Groovy collection that comes with the first 2 films and the TV show. And then I've got Army of Darkness Steelbook. And I would like to get the 2 modern Evil Dead movies on Steelbook. Then we've got The New World, Criterion. Really enjoy the cinematography and look at that movie. Nightcrawler, one of the best movies of the last 10 years. Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro. Nightmare on Elm Street collection. Nobody. No Country for Old Men, gotta get that Criterion. The Alfred Hitchcock collection. Oh, it just fell out of its case. But this is Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, and the Birds. Air Force One, another classic Harrison Ford action thriller. After Hours, part of me wants to say this is my favorite Scorsese, but it's really hard to say, but it kind of is. Adventureland, really underrated movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch this one. That's just a good overall film to just sit back and enjoy. Then we got Adjustment Bureau, Ad Astra. This movie on paper should be a great movie, but it just doesn't come together that well. The Accountant, really great movie. I'm surprised it's taken so long for a sequel, but I really love this movie. An Innocent Man, big Tom Selleck guy. And Justice for All, one of the most underrated Pacino films. Anaconda. American Psycho with a great 4K steelbook. The American President with Michael Douglas. I watched this movie, and I think this inspired the West Wing show. I watched this movie in my American government class. Why did we watch this movie in the American government class? Because we were talking about the president and all the different hats that the president wears. So we watched this movie randomly. I liked it. American Made with Tom Cruise. One of his more recent non-action movies. Again, it's got a lot of Scorsese-isms in it, but it's a really great movie. American Hustle, American History X, American Beauty. Then we got Mad Max Anthology on 4K, and then Furiosa. We've got Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and then we got Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire. Oh, we should get these out of the way over here. I've got the Indiana Jones 4 movie collection. These are the steelbooks, the white steelbooks. These are all on 4K. Then I've got the Walmart exclusive edition Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And then I have them each in a individual steelbook with Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones, that's my favorite film franchise, it's my favorite character. When Paramount and Disney released together a 5-film set, I'll probably buy that one too. I make an exception. Then we got Wonka. Did not expect to like that movie as much as I did. And then we've got Venom 4K Steelbook, and then Venom Let There Be Carnage 4K Steelbook. Alright, we've got Nonstop, another Liam Neeson thriller that I enjoy. Nope, probably my favorite Jordan Peele movie. The Northman, another Robert Eggers, probably my least favorite, but I still liked it a lot. Oblivion, I like the vibes of that movie. Ocean's Trilogy, another set of films I need to upgrade to 4K. Office Space, really underrated comedy. We got It Chapter 2. I have no clue where It Chapter 1 is. It's somewhere, but we got It Chapter 2 for now. Didn't really like that movie at all. There wasn't many redeeming qualities I found in it. The Italian Job. Jack's Back. I'm a James Spader guy, so I enjoy that one. Jack Reacher and Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I really like Jack Reacher. It's really well directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Great chase scene. I know Tom Cruise doesn't look like Jack Reacher in the books, but I really like this movie. Jack Reacher Never Go Back, I thought, was not good at all. But I own it because I like to have the whole set. Jack Ryan, Five Film Collection. I only really like the first 3, Hunt for Red October, and then the 2 Harrison Ford ones. And that's because those are the only ones I've seen. I don't know if I can. I've been trying to force myself to watch the other ones, but I just don't know if I can. Interstellar, Invisible Man, The Irishman, one of my favorite Scorsese films. Great to see him finally work with Pacino. I, Robot, underrated sci-fi film. Iron Claw, The Island, another Michael Bay one that I like. Here's It Part 1. Then we've got the Alien Quadrilogy, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and Alien Romulus. I like all the Alien movies. There's obviously some that are far superior than others, but I generally like them all. Beetlejuice, Barbie, Bad Lieutenant, really just over-the-top Nicolas Cage at his best. Back to the Future trilogy, these are the Steelbooks, great trilogy, again, one of the film series that I was just obsessed with as a kid that I love so dearly. Baby Driver, really enjoyed that movie. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And then we've got the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy Steelbook, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 Steelbook. Spider-Man 2, again, would be on my Mount Rushmore of best superhero movies of all time. Okay, I'm gonna try and scoot closer to you guys because we're really just kind of in this range right here. I'm gonna sit really uncomfortably. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is a digibook on Blu-ray. That's supposed to get a 4K this year, so Once Upon a Time in the West, I overpaid for this Paramount Presents, but I love this, my favorite Western, so wanted to have that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. When I first watched this, I wasn't really a fan, but on a rewatch, I really, really liked it a lot more than I did the first time. Old, M. Night Shyamalan. Parts of it that I liked, but I think overall it's just kind of a movie that you forget about, but I don't mind it. Al Pacino Cruising, a really underrated Al Pacino movie. The Crow. Crimson Tide, I think this is really underrated. Tony Scott, Denzel, and Gene Hackman movie that just cool submarine epic, I guess you could say. Crazy Stupid Love, really enjoyed that film. The Cowboy Way, this is like a German release because it wasn't on Blu-ray at the time I purchased it. This is a movie that I was obsessed with as a kid because I just loved cowboys and all that stuff. But rewatching it, it makes no sense. These two random New Mexico cowboys coexist with the police. It makes no sense. They should have been like Texas Rangers or something. Like they're just random they're rodeo riders. Cowboys and Aliens, I enjoy that Jon Favreau film with Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig. Copland, another great James Mangold movie, who really doesn't have a bad movie, honestly. Godzilla -1, this is my favorite Godzilla movie. We got Peter Jackson's King Kong, and then we've got the Matthew Broderick, Roland Emmerich Godzilla that I was obsessed with as a kid. Then we've got Leon the Professional, we've got LA Confidential, Last Action Hero, The Last Duel, Last Night in Soho, The Last Samurai, which is one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies, Kill Bill 1 and 2. We've got Killers of the Flower Moon on 4K. This is an Italian release that I'm very thankful to have. Kingdom of Heaven, Ridley Scott film. Kindergarten Cop, when I gotta upgrade the 4K, but a great action comedy with Arnold at his best. King Arthur. It's a cheesy period movie that takes place during medieval times that gets a lot of the history wrong and acts like it's the true story, but I enjoy that movie still. Then we've got King of Comedy, one of Scorsese's most underrated films. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, a really underrated Shane Black movie that should be one of those movies that people debate on whether or not it's a Christmas movie or not. With a great Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer performances. Night and Day, another James Mangold movie that's just kind of like Tom Cruise cheese. Knives Out, this is my favorite movie of 2019. I hate the fact that Lionsgate sold the rights to this series to Netflix. I love this movie so much, though. Daniel Craig's fantastic as Benoit Blanc. I'm so glad that that's kind of become like a iconic detective character. We got Knowing, Nick Cage Cheese, Krampus, Cuffs. This is a really underrated Christian Slater 90s film that I enjoy. It's got a lot of Beverly Hills Cop energy to it, and it's scored by the same guy. JFK is my favorite Oliver Stone film. You gotta watch the 3 hour and 20-minute cut. Of course you do. Kevin Costner at his best. And this movie's memed to an unbelievable level, but it deserves to get all the recognition that it can. John Q, Jojo Rabbit. We've got The Judge, underrated 2014 film with Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. We got the Jurassic Park 5 film collection, and then we've got Jurassic World Dominion. Then we've got K-19 The Widowmaker. I think this is a really underrated Catherine Bigelow, Harrison Ford film with Liam Neeson as well. And then we've got the Karate Kid. This is the film, 3 films set on 4K. All right. Do I have any leg room? Not really. Oh, my nose is starting to run. My back is starting to ache. And I still have to clean up all this mess when the video ends. Ugh. But we're almost there. We got Inception. This is probably my favorite Nolan film. That's an awesome 4K Steelbook. Incredibles 1 and Incredibles 2. Then we've got Independence Day. I don't love Independence Day as much as everybody else does, but I think that's because a lot of people grew up with it, and I just never had that attachment to it. Hateful Eight, underrated Tarantino. Harsh Times. Heat, my favorite movie of all time. Love Heat. Just love that movie unconditionally. Like I said, I think it's the best movie ever made. Just my personal opinion. Hell or High Water. High and Low, great Kurosawa film. Hollow Man, really love this. Paul Verhoeven with Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Shue, Josh Brolin as well. Hook, one of Spielberg's most underrated. Even he hates that movie. Here we go again. Hollywood Homicide and Hudson Hawk. I own it for Hollywood Homicide. I think it's a really underrated Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett movie. I don't care about Hudson Hawk. Hostiles, I think that's an underrated Western film with Christian Bale. Hotel Transylvania, I think that's a good movie, although the series kind of divulged into nonsense. I Am Legend. Identity, Another Man Gold, great film. Inglourious Bastards, Tarantino at his finest, of course. Inside Man, and then Nolan's most underrated movie, Insomnia. Love this movie a lot. All right, we have a couple. Oh crap, we're not even. Okay, there's 3 more stacks. I thought we were closer to being done than that. Okay, Batman v Superman. Say what you will about Batman v Superman, but I won't say anything. Suicide Squad, I think everyone can agree that's abomination. Wonder Woman. Justice League, the Joss Whedon version, which is just trash. Aquaman, I enjoy aspects of that movie, but I feel like it's a little too long. Shazam, the more time passes, the less I like this movie, but I think it's still fair. Birds of Prey, I haven't watched that one yet. Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. A little too self-indulgent, but I still think it's a good movie. Suicide Squad, Blue Beetle, Black Adam, which I just can't gain enough courage to watch, and that same sentiment goes for Shazam, Fear of the Gods. Just can't work up the courage to watch that one. Alright, and what we have left essentially is the MCU. So I guess I will work in backwards chronologically speaking. We got Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't like this movie that much. I think it's a fine movie. It's kind of mediocre. But one thing I will say about it is, compared to the rest of the MCU lately, this is the one that I wouldn't put near the top of the list, but it's the one that I feel myself rewatching the most. I think it's just a fun time. We got Loki Season 2. I think this is the best season of a Disney Plus show. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, great film. Wakanda Forever, I think this one is really underrated too. I think it's way better than the first one. Thor Love and Thunder, only the Christian Bale parts of this movie are watchable. Multiverse of Madness. My memory says that this movie's better than it was, but it was on TV recently and I wasn't really vibing with it, so. Then we got Moon Knight. I think aspects of the show are really good, but other aspects aren't. Then we got No Way Home. Don't let nostalgia blind you. This movie has more missed opportunity than anything else. Hawkeye, I didn't really like that show that much. Shang-Chi, I enjoyed. Black Widow, Loki Season 1 has some good moments, but has some bad moments too. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think, is a really solid show. WandaVision, No Way, or Far From Home. Then we got Endgame, a movie that I put on the superhero Mount Rushmore. Just fantastic how they perfectly culminate 22 movies into this one movie is just impressive. Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, that's a great movie too. Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and all the Spider-Man movies are Steelbook. Guardians Volume 2, Doctor Strange, Captain America Civil War, Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, which is probably the worst of the Avengers movies, but I still really, really like it. Guardians, Winter Soldier, Thor The Dark World, Iron Man 3, The Avengers, Captain America, The First Avenger, which I really think is an underrated movie. It feels so much so like the classic superhero movies that I grew up on, and I just really like it. Thor, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and I think, as long as I didn't skip over a pile, which I don't think I did, the final movie is obviously Iron Man. Oh, my God. This is the wreckage. My gosh. Well, guys, that does it for this Our Parents' Basement episode. I'm going to cry because now I have to put all of this back. It's going to be a nightmare. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, oh, my hair's messed up now. Hopefully you like, comment, and subscribe, at least for this monstrosity that I put myself through. But let me know any comments down below. How does my collection fare against yours? And I still have movies coming in the mail. What have I got myself into? I love it, though. Pumps me full of energy. Though I'll probably be sleeping well tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time in my parents' basement, your parents' basement, our parents' basement.